All right, today we are diving into a really fascinating economic model. And it's so different, you almost have to learn a whole new language just to get your head around it. We're going to decode what's called the infinite harvest doctrine and the 4G 3W economy. Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with the single biggest point of confusion, the one that sits right at the heart of this whole system. And that is, what's the difference between cashing out and truly harvesting? And I'll give you a hint. They're not just different, they're not even in the same ballpark. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. You see, a cash call, think of that as your emergency exit. It's just you getting your initial $10 seed back. And notice the emphasis here. This is not profit. The infinite harvest, on the other hand, that's the whole point. It's not about pulling out your little seed. It's about staying in the game and cultivating the entire economic forest. So, if the goal is to harvest this whole forest and not just grab your seed and run, how does that actually work? How is value really created just by sticking around? Well, the key thing to understand is that the harvest isn't just a single event. It's not a one-time paycheck. It's this continuous flow that comes from four totally different streams. So you've got your liquid capital gains, sure, but you're also getting what they call personal power through the app, automatic tax benefits, and even access to some really cutting-edge stuff like AI. It's a whole package deal, a reward for your participation. And this quote, this just perfectly captures the entire philosophy. It's Portuguese. Quem sai leva a semen. Quem fica colhe a floresta. And that means, he who leaves takes the seed, he who stays harvests the forest. It's just such a powerful way to say that this system is built to reward you for sticking with it, not for bailing out early. Okay, so this is where things get really wild. To actually explain how this works, the people who built it realized that the normal language of finance, it just wasn't cutting it. In fact, it was causing most of the confusion. So they had to invent a whole new way of talking about it, a new paradigm. So what did they do? They created an official canon, like a new set of laws or principles designed to kind of re-educate everyone and just get rid of all the confusion. And the way they did it was by completely ditching the metaphors of money and finance, and instead turning to the fundamental principles of physics. And this is what they call the canon of economic physics. It's now the official way to understand everything. It basically reframes the whole idea of value creation. It's not a market thing anymore. It's a physical process, like a predictable chemical reaction that involves three concepts you'll definitely remember from science class: mass, energy, and fusion. So, this new physics is built on these three core concepts, and each one of them completely redefines how we think about our money, about risk, and about technology. Let's break them down one by one. First up, we've got mass. Now, I want you to think of your initial $10 not as an investment that can go up or down, but as a stable, unchangeable particle. It's like a secure weight, a ballast. It's never spent, it's never at risk, it's just allocated. And that mass is what you can always get back if you decide to do a cash call. Next, you've got energy. This is the engine. This is the real driving force. It's all the power that comes from the web and their personal savings helper app. This is the part that automates the whole harvest, so you don't have to do the manual work. You'll hear users call it saving on motor. And this is basically the scientific reason why. And finally, we have fusion. Now, this is where the magic happens. Fusion is the digital reaction where your secure mass gets combined with the system's energy. And this process literally creates a brand new unit of value they call the own-dated web quantum. And you know those four harvest streams we talked about a minute ago? Well, they're the direct byproducts of this digital fusion. And this table just lays it all out, side by side. You can see how the old, kind of vague financial terms get replaced with these very precise physics terms. Your investment? No, that's your secure mass. The app? That's the energy. Your returns? Those are byproducts of fusion. And the big one, look at the bottom. Financial risk? It's eliminated because mass is never lost. So a huge part of this re-education is correcting the language we use. The system doesn't pay interest, or juros, because that word implies you're dealing with debt. The official, correct term is web cashmatic income, or renda, and it's a critical difference. This isn't a payment you get for lending out money. It's your share, a distribution of the actual value that's being produced by that fusion process. So, you gotta ask, right? Why go through all this trouble? Why create this whole new language based on physics? What's the point? Why does this all matter? Well, here's the bottom line. At the end of the day, this entire framework is designed to completely flip our idea of risk and reward on its head. It's a system that's all about permanence. Value isn't some reward you get for taking a crazy risk, it's just the predictable outcome of a process. Your starting capital, your mass, is always safe. Technology, the energy, does all the heavy lifting for you. And the goal is always, always to grow that tiny little seed into a massive, thriving forest. And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to chew on. We've just walked through a system that doesn't define wealth with the language of Wall Street, but with the fundamental laws of the universe itself. So the question you have to ask is this just a new physics for creating value, or could it actually represent a new value for physics?